Okay, hey everyone. Welcome to week one. This is our May Mindset Masterclass, which is a fancy way of saying we're going to create a space where we're going to get together and chit chat about some key things that pertain to our Plexus business, but not so much in the how, like the how to, because y'all already know how to. If you're silver above, you already know what you have to do, right? You have to talk to people, you have to share, you do an event, whatever, and help people get started. So what we're going to be talking about in these weekly 30-minute little sessions are just things that I feel like are super, super important. It's things that I'm learning, and I feel like it would be valuable for us to just have the space to learn together. While we're starting, why don't you guys, this is something I forgot to ask you on your like prep homework, is what your goal is for May. Maybe I did ask. Anyways, shout out in the comments what your 369 goal is. Did y'all see that email with, if you had 3 ambassadors, you get that fun little water bottle. If you had 6, you get the, is it Lululemon? By the way, Lululemon is awesome. I love their stuff. And then if you add 9, you get an Apple Watch. So super cool. Because this is somewhat accountability, if you were in the spring session of accountabilities, we basically just, focused on, consistency and making sure that we were accountable to each other for doing the things, right? But I think it would be really, really beneficial to just shout out in the comments, just to verbalize and make it visible what you're working towards this month. Like in May, the goal was add 6 ambassadors because I want the silly iPad, right? I want to help 6 people and I get rewarded for that. So we had an amazing March because I think that we were also focused on that one thing, right? And so this month, totally same thing. And guys, I did not have this type of stuff. When we started in 2015, like there was no Apple Watch, no iPads. I think there might have been an iPad incentive before I joined. I remember hearing about that. But there are so many wonderful things that Plexus is doing to help you stay motivated to continue to share Plexus with people. And when you're in the beginning, actually anywhere you're at in your business, like it's go time, right? If you get rewarded for adding 9 ambassadors, like go for the 9. That's what I would say. And you can, I think, didn't it say in there that you can earn as many as you want, like multiples of 9 or whatever? So that's cool. Some people totally do that. Okay, so to the topic for today, so yeah, go ahead and shout it out. If you have a specific point goal or rank up goal, definitely shout that out too. Awesome, love seeing all those. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, I get distracted looking at the chat thread. All right, so the topic for today is clarity, and this is something that Jess and I have been chatting about when we go to people's teams, when we've been meeting with people in person. One of the topics is clarity, because I think it totally ties into your success in your business. It's like in anything, in your mom life, in your marriage, fitness goals, whatever. The more clear you are on what you want and why you want it, the more successful you're going to be, right? And I'm also still working through those emails. Guys, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing your heart, your dreams, your goals, your fears, like your strengths, all those things with me. I really appreciate that. I'm working through each one of them because I'm reading all of them, and I'm also putting feedback on. So if you want to continue to chat, I'll ask questions and send some feedback via those emails, okay? So just keep an eye on that. So Justin can be popping on some of these too. I'm not going to host these solo because he has some really wonderful things of value to add. We're going to have a different topic each week, but and some homework that goes along with it. But our goal is to help you and equip you to be as successful as you want to be. I remember listening to Tara Castaneda last year at the convention for the diamond training, and she said, this business will gift you. And it's really true. Like, I'm seeing that. And it's if you have a growth mindset, if you're willing to grow yourself, because your current skill set is going to get you to a certain point in Plexus. Your current leadership skills, all those things are going to get you to a certain point. But after that, you have to grow outside of that. Okay, I put so many limits on myself looking back, but the reason why I'm diamond is because I was willing to grow, face my fears, face them quickly, and grow past what I am, you know, what's me, kind of, if that makes sense. So like, I told myself, oh, you know, I don't really need other people. That sounds so awful and harsh, but I don't really need other people for me to feel motivated to do my thing, right? But what I found is like, you know what? Other people do feel motivated by getting together and working. So you know what? I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to become a little bit of a party planner. I'm going to have to go invest some time and some money and some travel to go to people. And you know what I've found? I'm gleaning probably more than the people that even come to those things because it adds value to me as a person. But whatever that thing is, so many of you sent me your fears, all, you know, your strengths. Identifying those things is going to help you to grow. And I'd also want to say congratulations, because to see this many names, I have a running list of people that are doing this, to see this many names willing to invest in yourself, in your business, to show up every week for a 30-minute call, to do the homework, to do the hard things. Like, you're not normal. And that's a compliment to say you're not normal. You're 3%ers. You're people that are willing to do the work because you want momentum, you want success. And congratulations for that. That's awesome. And that's what's going to make you successful. As long as you stay consistent and committed to what your goals are, and you stay clear with what those are, and you have clarity, the sky's the limit. Y'all are going to pass me up. Okay. So, who listened to the Preston Pugmire calls from, was it maybe last week or the week before? Anyone? I thought it was such valuable stuff. It was just eye-opening to me. And I'm a visual person, so I'm going to use his tree analogy. Did any of you see when he did that little tree analogy? It was so eye-opening to me, and it made so much sense, because he basically said your mindset can sabotage your growth. Because our thoughts produce action or inaction, or keep us stuck, right? And our beliefs determine everything. I'm looking off some notes here because I don't want to forget anything. And this is the thing. Y'all already know what to do. You've proven that. You've signed people up. You've gotten people started. You've helped people go sober. But what happens a lot of times is our mindset gets in the way. Our fear, we start to say, you know, scarcity thoughts like, well, I don't have time. I'm not organized, like all the things. And it starts to cripple us. It's like putting the parking brake on, right? So when your mindset is not in the right place, or your fears are overriding everything, it's like driving your car with the parking brake on. Is that fun? You're going to push that pedal down, and it's not going to go very far or very fast. But once you address those things and you get that parking brake released, you can apply the same pressure and go a whole lot faster and a whole lot farther. Okay. So that's what we're going to do in these calls. And so if we just look at the little tree here, basically what this is representing is strategy is at the top. Okay. Results are the fruits. Okay. And so in Plexus terms, this would be like your points, your rank, stuff people see, right? That's what everyone's after. I'm wondering, how do I get that? The action is like the trunk. Okay, so it's like, what are you doing, or maybe what you're not doing? How many events are you hosting? Sip and Sees, in-person things, online events for your new people. How are you, following up? What's your IPA like? All those things. Okay, but this is kind of irrelevant if our root system is weak and diseased. Okay, and the roots represent our mindset. And our mindset, the definition of mindset is simply this: thoughts and beliefs. Okay. And this is also tied into your emotions. How are you feeling? Because your mindset affects your emotions. And if you are not in a healthy place emotionally, your feelings are, it's all going to kind of accumulate into this big blah. And you're not going to be in a position to be energetic and excited and chatting with people about something that has changed your life, or it's changed other people's lives, or you are seeing how it's working for your family, that kind of thing. And so what your root system is determines everything. And so that's the main reason I felt like the next 6 weeks were so valuable, because we aren't going to tap out of our normal IPA. Okay. If you're following along on the team page, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you plug into that IPA challenge this week. It's basically doing an IPA blitz at the beginning of the month, okay? And then the rest of the month, we're inviting to the events, we're following up with people, we're continuing conversations, but we at least know that the first full week of May, boom, you've gotten that huge chunk done. All right? Okay. And the reason we're setting it up like this is because May is a prep month for Leaders Retreat contest, and every single person on here can earn that. We have people that join midway through Leaders Retreat and still earn it and go. And so it is a do not miss. It is a special earned trip that you can earn. It's always hosted usually at a Gaylord resort. Last year was actually a cruise. I don't think they're going to duplicate a cruise 2 years in a row, but really, really good. Fabulous training. They spoil you like crazy. You'll get to meet people from one team. It's awesome. So this month is like the press-in month. And that's why the 369 thing is so important. And not just for you, but ask your people on your team, like, hey, do you want to go for one of those prizes? I mean, maybe they're not even sharing yet, but sometimes that's the thing that will motivate them. And sometimes that just creates the conversation and be like, hey, you'd be totally good at this. Why don't you do it with me? You know? So it creates that opportunity in this chat. Okay. This is something else that I got a question after I got off the last call, and I felt like I didn't address it on the first call very, very succinctly. But this is the thing I think can happen sometimes is sometimes we feel stuck when we're reaching out and we're like, just had like this brain freeze of, okay, I'm sitting down, my kids are napping, it's my IPA time. What in the heck do I say and who do I message? Which that's why I'm having everyone do the Doe app, because it'll take the brain space out. It'll free up your life immensely because it'll be given to you. Hey, these are your 5 people, and you just hit the button 5 times, and boom, you've gotten your stuff done for day 2 of our IPA thing, right? But one thing I was chatting with this girl about is that she basically has the cart before the horse. She didn't turn in her homework yet. So I said, you need to go do that first, because you're going to revisit your why. Like, why are you doing this? You're going to evaluate your motives, right? Your goals. And then that's going to totally determine and kind of fuel that reason for reaching out. I don't feel bad to reach out to people because the product's changed our life and the business has changed our life and it's changing other people's lives. So why would we feel like embarrassed to reach out? Or why would we say that's the hard thing? Which I get it. Guys, that is the hard thing because you're putting yourself out there. It's a vulnerable place. You have no idea if the person that you're messaging is needing this or if someone they know needs this. But that's the thing. This business, this opportunity, it really takes faith. It's seeing something before it happens. And the ability to see that way instead of saying and telling yourself stories like, oh, I'm just bugging them, or they're going to think I'm trying to sell them something, okay? Anyone thought that before? Maybe I'm alone. I'm pretty sure that if you have any of those little stories going through your head, you're not abnormal. Like, that is totally normal to think that. But we have to flip that verbiage. We have to, like in Bible terms, we would say, you have to take that thought captive and switch it, okay? Instead of, I remember Jessica Heffley saying, you guys have no idea who is praying for an answer for their finances or praying for an answer for their health, and you are the person that can tell them about it. They do not know unless we tell them. And if you do not tell them, someone else will. And so that has always been my fuel. After I had that mindset shift and perspective from her, I was like, you know what? It's not about me. Okay. Often, I wrote this down, often our excuses are our fears talking. When you actually drill down and you're like, oh, that's an excuse. Actually, it's not even an excuse as much as it's a fear. Okay, so I want you guys to think about something you know you should do. It doesn't have to be Plexus related. Shout it out in the comments. It could be health related. It could be whatever. Feeding your kids vegetables. Who's willing to unmute and say something that you know you should do, and kind of the story that you create in your head of why you aren't doing it.
I'll share, Megan.
Okay, thank you.
I know I should go live more often, and I do go live and I share like what we're doing in our day and how family's going and pictures of Jet and Lily. But I feel like for people to get to know me and to build my brand and my influence, I need to go live more often as myself and share just little tidbits of what I'm doing in my day and not just all about my kids. So that's the one thing that I don't do that I know I should do, but then I tell myself this story, well, I'm busy, I'm feeding a baby, I'm changing diapers and letting the dog out, you know, those excuses come up. And then I'm like, well, do I really want to go live? I don't look that great today. So, you know,
Yeah.
so, but yeah.
So the story you're telling yourself, you basically talk yourself out of it because it's something you know you need to do, that it would be effective in growing your business. Right. But it's not necessarily scary as much as maybe more of a scarcity feeling, like I don't have time. Do you feel like it's a fear, right, or is it more right. of like scarcity based?
I feel it's more of a fear of what people are going to think. These are people I don't know. This is a lot of like the number of friends that I have are a lot of friends that I don't really meet in person. They're more of the online social media friends. So what I've done is I've done videos, and I can rock the video and I can upload it to YouTube, and I will share the YouTube video when I want to share like my postpartum plexus story or things of that nature. But to do it live is just another story.
I see. So a live versus a pre-recorded video.
Yeah. Yeah. At least I know I can delete the video if I don't like it. Where a live is like, oh, if you have this child screaming in the background in between your live, you're like, oh, well, it's just gonna have to. You can still delete it, but you know, I don't know. It is a mindset thing.
Yeah, no, but I love that you were willing to be vulnerable with us, because I guarantee you, it's just like some classes that I took in college. If one person raises their hand and asks the question, like 90% of the other part of the class has the question too, but they're just too scared to like say and be vulnerable and say, I don't understand that. And so the same thing in this is, I feel like if that's your fear, like 90% of everyone else in the group has the same fear.
Well, it's not even, I think, going live, but I think it's like, what do you talk about? Like, what do I have of value to share today? That my child went potty on the big potty, woohoo! Like, what's my secret today? You know, I don't know. Like, people are really gonna watch that, but okay.
They do, though. So, it's crazy.
I know.
And it makes you human. And also, Facebook Live is way more vulnerable than a pre-recorded video, because it's your raw, real self. You may not have makeup on, and you may have a kid screaming in the background. But that's what attracts people to you, because you know you're real. And like, you're some perfect, polished person that's, you know, not in real life.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Let's see. Sleep training my toddler. All right. Yes. Because it's uncomfortable. We don't want to displease that toddler, because it makes it uncomfortable for us. It's painful for a season of time. Practicing piano. I'm working through that with the kids. It goes back to even that slight edge principle. Small daily consistencies add up over time, right? Getting a maid or a helper. And guys, I just shared on Facebook today my vulnerable perspective on like getting help. After I had my third baby, Justin was just like, I'm getting you a house cleaner every week or every 2 weeks, whatever it was. But what I've realized is, like, I was the one missing out on the blessing, because it has created so much more peace in our home. And it's a blessing to the people that we're able to hire. It's just a mutual blessing. And sometimes there's mother's helpers. Sometimes I have people that come and volunteer and help me. There's just different things for different seasons. But guys, the head chatter that I was telling myself is basically that I had to be perfect and I had to be super mom. And once I came to the realization that no one is, and if it's something that helps me work smarter, not harder, and helps me get twice as much done in half the time, I mean, my life doesn't revolve around cleaning my house anymore. I have 6 kids and counting, and we're homeschooling. We have a home, like, there's so many things. And so plug in your scenario, you know, whatever your thing is. So yeah, thank you guys for sharing those things. Committing to a workout routine. Yes. Yeah, gym membership. Those are great, because it holds your feet to the fire, because you're like, oh, I paid for that. I need to go use it. One thing for going live, I think that's a fear that a lot of people have, and also a fear that we don't have something of value to share with people. I know I felt that way. Has anyone else felt that way? Like, what would I share that would be encouraging to people? But think about your life. There's a girl that I follow on Instagram, and guys, her stories are not that profound, but it's basically like sweet daily life that she's doing with her kids. It's adorable. And like, I want to keep watching her stories. So it's not really the grandiose, big, preachy things that you may think you want to share. It's like the small, daily, little mundane things. That's what is intriguing to people. That's what adds value. And that's what really helps you add influence, like share your influence with people, because they see you as a real person, not just like some person that just puts up some flashy post every so often, right? So, yes, very good. Okay, so I wanted to share a couple of my fears from when I started Plexus, because it might resonate with some of you. And these were some of my fears. So I was comparing myself to other people that started at the same time that had way wider influence than me. So I told myself, well, I don't have a national herb store or a nationwide network, and I don't own a health food store. Okay, so I was comparing myself to people that I knew starting at the same time. They were trying to go silver, or maybe they were silver trying to go gold. And I had every reason in the book why those people would be successful and not me. Another thing that I had was a subconscious hang up about the business. Until I was Sapphire, guys, I had hang ups, which I was kind of on, I was entrepreneurial, but I just couldn't get through my head that until Jessica did a video. She's like, the world runs off of business, people. Like, she was a business major, okay? I was Viola Performance. So I was like over here doing the artsy thing, and she's over there getting a business mindset, okay? There's a difference. There's just something that when I pay every other person in my life for service, for any service, from my hair to helping me clean my house to babysitting, whatever it is, I'm paying people, right? So why is this any different? I just had to get through my head that it's not different. We get compensated for helping people. Why would that be anything different? Okay, these are just my personal things to me. Another one that I had, which was basically based out of fear, or scarcity, and this like not enoughness, was I don't have, the lie I told myself, or the story I created was, I don't have time to be organized. I'd use the word overwhelmed a lot. I also feel like perfectionism was huge, because I wanted everything to be perfect before I would like work. And those things, if I wouldn't have worked to overcome them, would have held me back in a really big way. And so I love what Brooke Hemingway says about overwhelm, which is basically a lack of a plan or a system. And so I have gotten a lot more systematic, even down to like my meal planning. Guys, it takes the brain space out of your week, like hugely. And it is better on your budget, like so many things. I mean, that's just one little area. I also have a notebook that I make a list of things that I have to do for the next day. That way I put my brain onto paper, and then I can go to sleep. Okay, so those are just a couple of my things. Another thing I'll mention really quick, and I put this in the chat thread. So if you're not currently in the chat thread that I've created, so if you've sent your email to me, I'm slowly getting all of you added to the Facebook Messenger thread. And I posted next week's homework in there. But I also posted the 2 videos that I listened to on repeat, because this is something that I didn't realize I was doing at the time, but I was working on my mindset, because I realized I had limiting beliefs. And I went from, like, good for them, like I can totally see why they would be successful at this, to why can't I be successful? I started to flip that verbiage as I started to learn things, as I started to grow, as I started to learn more about the products. I was like, well, people need this. It's kind of selfish of me to hold it to myself, right? And so I listened to Jessica's fear video on repeat. Like, I didn't just listen to it once, I listened to it multiple times, because I had to get that perspective shift in my brain. And I also listened to Lori Harrison's comfort zone videos. And what I realized by listening to both of those is that, honestly, it's not about me. It's about who can I help, who can I impact, how can I make a difference? And when you have that vision and that focus, it completely changes what you do and why you do it. Because now it's not self-focused. It's actually centered on how can I bless other people. Okay. So that's that. Oh, Justin and I were talking the other day too about America. I don't know if anyone's on here from New Zealand, Canada, or Australia, but living in America, guys, we have been given the best of the best opportunities. And what a shame to not buy up the opportunities and pursue them with excellence. Jess and I were talking about that the other day. Like, in America, you can put yourself in a higher tax bracket by working hard, by buying up an opportunity, by taking some risk, right? The kids and I are reading a early American history book, and they were saying the same thing yesterday. Like, basically, people came here, yes, for religious freedom, but also because they wanted a better way of life. And this was like the land of opportunity, and it still is. And so I think that's so awesome. But this is the thing, is most people are one of two things: too lazy or too scared. And they stay stuck in that, and they will not grow past that, which is super sad. I'll share one thing Justin was sharing with just in family devotions this morning about David and Goliath. He was talking about fear, actually, and operating from a place of faith instead of fear. But he said, look at David. Okay, he faced Goliath. Look at the army of Israel. All of those masses of men would not move. They would not make a move because of what? They're fearful. David, I'm sure, was still fearful, but he had faith and he acted. And look at that. Look at the difference. One man versus tons of people that were stuck in their fear. That was just profound to me when I thought about that this morning. It's like the masses are stuck in fear. But let's be like David. Let's not be the people that are stuck by fear. You can still do it scared and, be courageous, really, is what it is. And yeah, it's basically operating from a place of faith instead of fear. Okay, so a couple of notes that I wrote down is thinking big is the first step. Recognizing our patterns of behavior and thinking. And it really reveals our either unbelief or belief and our faith. Okay, or I guess it reveals our unbelief versus our faith. And so I would just challenge you guys this week to listen to yourself think. And be responsible for every thought. So when you realize you're going down the rabbit trail of, oh my word, I'm so overwhelmed, or you find yourself saying that, or you're realizing that you're negative about what you're saying, even about yourself, stop and flip the script. It's like taking every thought captive. That's what it is. And it can look like fear. It can look like scarcity, like this not enoughness. I don't have enough time. I didn't get enough sleep. And that's basically rooted in ingratitude. I realized this not too long ago, and I was like, ooh, that's ugly. I don't want to be like that. So this is the thing, back to clarity. What do you want? And you guys emailed me a lot of that, of what you want. But think about if time and money were no object, where would you live? What would you drive? Where would your kids go to school? Where would you give? Where would you travel to? It's kind of a fun thought to think. So in your quiet moments today, think through those things. Give yourself some time to reflect on those things. And then, reflect on what you want this month. You maybe say, well, I want an Apple Watch. Okay. How many people do you need to help to be able to get that? Okay. That Apple Watch is going to be a physical representation of the fear you faced, the messages that you sent, and the people you helped get started. And that's something to be super duper proud of. Okay, we already talked about that. So 2019, guys, can be your breakthrough year. It can be the spring, the summer, the year that you say, you know what? I'm committing to my own growth. I'm committing to consistency, and just declare it. Just tell your kids, tell your dog, tell your chickens, whatever. Tell them and verbalize that, because when you verbalize things, it starts to set things in motion, and you start to believe the things that you're saying. And this is a quote from Bob Heilig. If you were on that call in April or March, whenever that was, he says this. He says, this business is an assignment from God to grow you as a person, to face your fear so that you can operate from a place of love, impact, serving others, and grow. Have you ever thought of it that way? Like, this is actually not just an opportunity, it's actually an assignment. So you're getting paid while you learn these things. You're learning, you're getting a skill set. It's going to serve you. It's going to bless a whole bunch more people than just you and your Plexus business. This has fingers that go out like crazy, and it's going to like affect generations, because you're going to be able to teach your kids these things. You're going to model it, because who we are is how we lead, right? We learned that from Brene Brown. It's so true, guys. Okay, so let's talk about really quick, because we're almost done. What time is it? Okay, we're almost done. Let's talk about homework really quick. This is the thing. You might have seen it in the chat thread, but it's what you think about, you bring about. And so a lot of you emailed me in your why, your goals, all those things. So what I want you to do is make it visible, make it in picture form what you want, what your goals are, what your dreams are, okay? Who it is involving even, okay? So when we were at the 10X conference, Steve Harvey, when he came out on stage, the person interviewing him said, "Hey, Steve, this is not in the script, but hey, can you show us your screensaver?" And he had him put it up on the screen of his screensaver, which was his dream board, his vision board, okay? And it was things like the country of Africa, Chick-fil-A. There's a cool house like in Georgia. He's like, "Don't go buy it. My wife wants that house." It was super cute though. Like this super successful multi-million-dollar guy, he still is going after goals, not necessarily just because he is in growth mode, right? And so my challenge to you guys, your homework, is to make a vision board. Like get your kids involved, get your husband involved. Like say, "Hey, Plexus is going to reward us. Like, where do we want to go as a family to celebrate?" Or, what mission work or what charity do you want to, that's near and dear to your heart? If you could give X amount away to that charity, like, that's cool. Like, think of things that like totally fuel you and that you would work hard to see those things true because of your Plexus business that's going to gift you. Okay. Okay. And the next thing I want you to do is to write a story. One thing, but wait, hang on. Before I say that, I will say, if you guys listen to the April team call, all the girls, Ruby and above, shared, the ones that ranked up. And one common theme that I saw is that they had specific habits that they instituted. Did you guys catch what it was? I thought it was so apparent. They all wrote their goals out and they made them visible, and they didn't just keep it to themselves. They actually told people, which is super vulnerable, right? And scary, but they made that plain. So it's like that. I always say, write the vision and make it plain, right? The scripture. So make a vision board. The second thing is write your story. Write it in first person, like you're telling yourself, and it's your future, like a year from now, what your life is going to look like. Okay, I actually had to do this in our diamond training last convention. Tara Castaneda had us do this. And I got out my book last night and I revisited it. And she challenged us to have a big vision and to dream big. And so I'll just share with you. This is vulnerable for me to share, but I wrote down, okay, had just re-ranked back to diamond, okay? Sometimes in this business, you might not hold on to your rank. Diamond was my only rank that I struggled to maintain. And so I was about 4,500 points. So I had just re-ranked back to diamond. And I put on my thing, I want 10,000 plus points. All right. Last month, we ended very close to that. And by convention, I should be there, which was completely like big, hairy, crazy goal. Like who even does that, right? But I put it down there. I wrote down double diamond couple. Okay. By convention, we very well could be double diamond. Okay. Teaching from stage, encouraging families, helping to set people free, identity, mindset, freedom from fears, finance. Okay. And then I have a list of people on the team that are going to be diamonds and jewels. And I said, one team dominating from stage. Guys, the things, like looking back through my Plexus business, I called things out that were not reality. I started saying our team is going to be a leaderboard team way before it was even a possibility. We were like in no momentum. My team was very small. We were a baby team. And that was ridiculous for me to even verbalize that. But guess what? Our team is on the leaderboard, top of the leaderboard, every single stinking week. Okay? So you have to learn to look forward and to vision cast for yourself. Okay? It feels kind of weird at first, but as you start to do that and you start to see those things realized, you'll start doing it more and you'll start encouraging other people to do that as well. So So my encouragement there is to write your story a year from now. Where are you going to be? Okay. And then, and you don't have to send it to me, and you don't have to share with anyone, but I would recommend share it with at least one person. It can be your sponsor, it can be your spouse, whatever. And then you're going to listen to Mel Robbins, the intro, and Dan. Okay, so if you haven't started listening to that yet, I just put an earbud in usually when I go on my exercise route in the mornings and listen to that. It's been eye-opening. If you guys haven't started that yet, it's just basically you get to sit in on 5 or 6 people's different coaching sessions with her. She's speaking at convention, and she's identifying people's top fears. And what I love is that she's helping you identify how it manifests in your body, because that's where fear starts first. And she's just giving people tools. And just FYI, there is some language in it, so listen with an earbud if you have kids close by. But I just say, hey, take the meat, throw out the bones. I don't talk that way. And you don't, I mean, sometimes people, I get really hung up on, oh my word, they said the D word. I'm just like, if that's your focus, then you're like kind of missing the point of the call, right? So take the meat, throw out the bones. I feel like I'm learning empathy towards people after listening to that. And it's also every single person, there's been a takeaway for me in what they've shared, just from hearing people's fears and what she's, encouraging and coaching them to do to overcome that. So also, I did mention the IPA, plugging into IPA this week. Who's registered for convention? Who's registered for convention? Okay, it's going to be a blast. If you're not registered, go register. It's going to be the best convention to date. You can get the details figured out in the next 6 weeks. There's people that are still game for sharing a room, ordering groceries in. You guys can make it worth your while. It is an investment in your business and is well worth it. Okay, I don't want to keep you all because I know that you have things to do. Okay, and remember, Leaders Retreat starts June 1st. So the things that we do today are going to affect what happens during Leadership Retreat Contest. Okay, I'm going to stay on for a few minutes. If you guys have to pop off, totally fine. Thank you guys for being on today. Looking forward to next week. And I will work through all those emails you all sent. So if you have any questions, guys, I'm just going to look through here really quick on the chat. If you have any specific questions, feel free to unmute. I'll be happy to answer. And just stick around for a few more minutes. Caroline, so happy to be with you weirdos in this. Don't be normal, be weird. Good stuff. All right. You all good?
So I would like to speak with you.
Sure.
I don't know if you can hear me. Okay, so this past week, the beginning of May, has been just totally not productive for me. It has been me totally battling with not having control of my time. I have felt like kind of just down and like burnt out off the last couple of months because they've been just go, and I was really able to do all my reach outs and I was feeling really good about all that I had accomplished. And then I just like hit a wall where I am like just like not reading. I'm not getting my reach outs in as many as I'd like. I'm just like feel like I'm trying to run through molasses with myself because I know this is all like it's me. Nothing has changed in my life. Like my babies aren't more clingy. They're the same, and like I need to snap myself out of it, and I don't know how. Like I'm miserable with myself because I'm not doing what, like, this frustration is just making it worse. And so I just like tips, advice, whatever. I need help.
Well, I think that one of the beautiful things about team is that you can be vulnerable and you can open up and you can know that you're not the only person that has ever felt that way. So don't feel like you're alone. And that's normal after a rank up. I mean, you hit gold and that's huge. And like we say, if you can get to gold, you can get to diamond. And so you were doing diamond things to rank up to gold last month. And so you're still kind of in that, oh my word, what just happened? Like kind of like whiplash. All right. So and this is, Jessica told me this, like breathe, take some deep breaths. One thing that always helps me is to just write down on a piece of paper what has to happen today before I go to sleep. And sometimes when you're in mom life mode, your day is a million things that feel very unproductive because you're legit cleaning up the same stuff the whole day and wiping the same bottoms and feeding the same little mouths. And so that work is good work. But sometimes that can crowd out what we feel like is the productive work in our business, which is like plexus work. And so one thing that I have found that has helped me is to just like maybe when hubby gets home, or if there's a mother-in-law, some even mother's helper, like if there's a 11-year-old girl close by, like, hey, can you come over this afternoon, just play with my kids for an hour of work. I mean, it's the same for housework. I was talking to Melinda about this today. I'm like, sometimes when I'm out of the mode and I've been doing stuff with the kids, or we're just going, I come back in and I'm like, oh my word, this place is overwhelming. It's a tornado. I don't have peace in my heart, no peace in my home because it's such a disaster. I can whip that up really fast. Like when I buckle down, if I don't have distractions, I can zoop it back up in like an hour or two, right? And I feel like the same thing goes for a business.
Right.
Sometimes we get in this mode of like, oh, and we start to like hyperventilate because we've been attending to other important things throughout the day. And then we sit down and we're like, where do I even start? That was me last night. I'm like, we had meetings, I was homeschooling. There was like so many things yesterday during the day. And then I sat down and was like, what do I do first? What's the most important thing? And so making a list, taking some time. So, I mean, maybe put the kids in a little stroller and just go for a walk, go in the woods, whatever, just to like clear your brain, kind of reset, and give yourself some space to think, and then make your list. Do you feel like you operate better off of a list?
Yes, absolutely. I make lists for myself all the time. So that's what I should do. And now I just kind of did this visual thing on my fridge, which I feel like is going to be really helpful, where I've put down, okay, this is my goal. This is my goal for the girls on my team who are working, and my like physical health goals, and kind of our family goals or whatever at our property. And like, I feel like that's going to be really helpful. Just in kind of saying, like, looking at it and having a physical representation of it. So that's really great. I do feel like my mood kind of has shifted since yesterday. Sometimes like taking a little me time, like I started taking writing lessons. So like I go out, that's kind of my therapy. And that kind of puts me back in a more positive mind space, because you really have to focus on what you're doing out there. So it's like, it kind of takes you away from your troubles. And so I just like you said, deep breaths, and I need to be able to sit down and focus. And like, we've been kind of running. So Eliza's nap time is like my time to like sit down and really focus on stuff. And sometimes I try to do too much like for my kids, and I guess in like getting them out of the house and doing things for them. And like, that's great. And I love doing that. But right now I just feel like I need the time to, like, catch my breath, make a list, and knock some stuff out. Like, I've got some stuff I need to mail out from last week that just needs to get out. And like, once I do those things, I'm going to feel so much better. But it's like getting the actual time to sit down and focus and do them. That is like driving me nuts. And I literally have a sign here on my cupboard that says, take control of your day. Yeah. And a lot of times that really helps me, because okay, what do I need to do? I'm going to do it now, regardless of what's going on in my house or my headspace. And like, I just have not been able to do that lately. And anyway, yeah, it's nobody's fault but mine. But I do feel like I kind of just lost it after April was over. It was like I took the first off, and then it was like the second was like, when am I going to find the time? And I found the time to do above and beyond what I've ever done before for the last 2 months. Mm-hmm. Like, there's nothing different now. It's just me. And that's so frustrating. It is so frustrating.
But you've acknowledged it.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And you've talked it out. I guarantee you every single other person on this call right now can empathize with you, because we've all been there, you know? And it's like this difference between react. I don't like when I feel like I react to my day instead of respond to it. Well, I feel like it's just like a pinball back and forth. And I'm like, okay, how come that day went so badly? So kind of like stepping back and evaluating. And, you know, every day is a fresh start. And so if you have to take a day and just be like, you know what, I don't have the bandwidth, I'm going to make a list, and tomorrow morning I'm going to get up and knock it out. And, even
Right.
if it means waking up an hour early before the kids or whatever. I would also say, yes, simplify. If that means that you do less outside the house with your kids, even for a week, sometimes that's all it needs. You need to just regroup. Um, Trust your gut on stuff. Like if you're feeling this certain way, go with that. Like if okay, I need to get to the post office. I feel like whenever I do and get my stuff mailed out, I'm like, hallelujah, I did that. Like I just got there, it wasn't closed, and I got my stuff done. So yes, when I feel overwhelmed, write it down. Yeah, and I love that you said that your mood affects, well, it affects everything. And so like figuring out a way to refuel. And sometimes it doesn't even take that long. Sometimes it looks like a hot bath at night and you just turn off the phone and just take a bath and go to bed. Yours is horseback riding. That's awesome. Like whatever that is, do it, because you're going to be that much more productive when you come back to your house, when you come back to your kids, when you come back to your Plexus business. So I highly recommend taking time to unplug and just do something that fuels you. You're filling up to pour out,
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And sometimes just being able to talk something out is so helpful, Alrighty. Okay, girls, I gotta go. I'm gonna go practice with my kids. If y'all, I don't know if anyone, Angie's gonna be there. I'll see some of you at Lincoln tonight at our event. So, and tomorrow is Chicago. So if you're near Chicago, I'll see you tomorrow night. Okay, great, Celia. Okay, I'll see you girls later.